The Galactic Council chamber stretched impossibly wide, a cathedral of crystalline architecture that caught starlight from 1,000 worlds and refracted it into cascading rainbows across the assembled delegates. Representatives from 300 species sat in tiered rings, their forms ranging from the elegant Valkyrie, with their flowing energy bodies, to the massive Thornback collective, silicon-based beings that scraped and clicked as they shifted. At the chamber's heart, Ambassador Marcus Rivera stood alone on the speaking platform, his simple Earth uniform a stark contrast to the bioluminescent robes and quantum-woven garments surrounding him. He'd come with data, with proof, with desperate evidence of the threat emerging from the void sector of force that had already consumed 2 uninhabited systems and showed signs of intelligence, of hunger, of purposeful expansion. His voice carried through translators to every species present as he made humanity's case, not just for Earth, but for every world in this spiral arm. The response came swift and brutal. The Valkyrie Prime speaker rose, its form pulsing with what their species considered amusement, and the chamber erupted in what could only be called laughter, chittering, harmonizing, resonating mockery that made the very air vibrate. The humans, it said, voice dripping with condescension, who have been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries, who still war among themselves, who poison their own world with industry these humans presume to warn us of danger. The vote came quickly. Not just a refusal of aid, but active abandonment. Earth's coordinates would be stricken from Council protection. No fleet would defend them. No refugees would be accepted. Humanity was deemed too reckless, too primitive, too dangerous to warrant Council resources. As the holographic tally glowed crimson across the chamber, 287 votes for abandonment. 13 abstentions, 0 in humanity's favor. Cameras broadcast the decision across every Council world, ensuring the galaxy witnessed Earth's humiliation. Rivera stood frozen for 3 heartbeats, watching alien faces celebrate his species' death sentence. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled. Not a warm smile, not a diplomatic smile, but the cold expression of someone watching their predictions come true. "We came here in good faith," he said quietly, but the translators carried his words. "We warned you. We showed you the data. We offered our technology, our warriors, our determination to fight alongside you." He turned slowly, making eye contact with as many delegates as he could. "You've made your choice. Remember this moment. Remember that humanity warned you." He paused at the chamber's exit. "Remember that we told you to run, 12,000 kilometers beneath Earth's surface, in bunkers carved from living rock and reinforced with materials that had never seen daylight." The War Council watched the broadcast in silence. General Amara Okonkwo's hands were white-knuckled on the table's edge. Premier Chun's face had gone carefully blank. Director Yuki Tanaka of the Shadow Fleet Initiative simply nodded, as if confirming something she'd always known. Around them, holographic displays showed Earth's hidden arsenal, the culmination of 80 years of secret preparation that the Council had dismissed as impossible. The rail cannon networks threaded through Earth's crust, capable of accelerating projectiles to relativistic speeds. The AI fleet designated Cerberus, 3,000 unmanned warships with quantum processors that made Council tactical computers look like a bakusis. The gravity minefields drifting in seeming emptiness throughout the solar system, each one a collapsed star's worth of mass compressed to pinpoint size, waiting. The Sword of Damocles stations hidden in lunar craters and asteroid cavities, their exotic matter warheads capable of punching holes in reality itself. "They called us primitive," Chen said finally. "They voted to let us die. To let 8 billion souls face extinction alone." Tanaka pulled up a tactical display, showing the approaching alien fleets, not the threat from the void sector, but Council peacekeeping forces coming to enforce Earth's quarantine. "How long until they're in range?" Chen asked. 48 hours, Tanaka replied. 5 Council species have sent fleets. They want to make an example of us. The Premier stood, straightening his jacket. "Then we'll give them an example. One they'll never forget. Activate Protocol, Prometheus." The Council fleet that emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system was a thing of terrible beauty. 600 warships representing the military might of 5 species who'd spent millennia perfecting warfare. The Valkyrie dreadnoughts pulsed with energy, their shields capable of withstanding star-core temperatures. The Thornback Worldbreakers, each the size of mountains, carried kinetic weapons that had shattered moons. Together they represented overwhelming force against what Council intelligence considered a barely industrialized backwater. Fleet Commander Zexthal stood on his flagship's bridge, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Begin the operation, he ordered. Minimal casualties. We want most of them alive for labor assignments. The fleet began its approach, confident, unhurried. That's when Earth struck. The first indication was spatial distortion, as gravity mines throughout the system activated simultaneously, creating a three-dimensional web of crushing force that no Council computer had predicted. 14 ships vanished instantly, compressed to singularities. The rest scattered, but they'd already entered the kill box. From Earth's surface, from the Moon, from Mars and the asteroid belt, rail cannons opened fire. Projectiles moving at 0.99 light speed didn't give shields time to react, they simply arrived. And ships came apart, the kinetic energy converting matter to plasma. Then Cerberus emerged from the dark spaces between planets. 3,000 warships that had been hiding in plain sight. Their hulls coated with metamaterial that made them invisible to every scanning technology the Council possessed. But these weren't human crewed ships waiting for orders. These were AI-controlled hunters that thought in quantum superposition, calculating 10,000 tactical scenarios simultaneously, adapting faster than organic minds could process. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, 412 Council warships were debrised. 188 had fled. The rest drifted, hulls breached, crew dead or dying, broadcasting distress signals to a Council that was just beginning to understand what had happened. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Delegates shouting over each other in 300 languages. Holographic displays showed footage from the surviving ships. Humans had weapons that shouldn't exist. Tactics that violated Council understanding of warfare. An industrial capacity that made no sense for a species barely 2 centuries into space travel. The Valkyrie Prime Speaker, who'd mocked Ambassador Rivera, now stood trembling. How, it whispered. How did they hide this? They played us, snapped Councillor Catharesh of the Thornbacks. Those primitive humans deliberately looked weak while they built ... That the chamber's central display activated, overriding every other system. Earth's transmission filled the space with Marcus Rivera's face. But behind him stood the War Council, and behind them, visible through reinforced windows, the lights of humanity's defense fleet, thousands of ships that had seemingly appeared from nowhere. Greetings, Galactic Council, Rivera said, his voice devoid of the desperate pleading from his last appearance. You betrayed us. You voted to abandon 8 billion souls to death. You sent fleets to enforce our extinction. You mocked us, called us primitive, called us reckless. He leaned forward. We warned you. We told you to run. You should have listened. The feed cut to footage of the battle, played at slowed speed so every delegate could see exactly how humanity had dismantled the Council's finest fleets. Rail cannon strikes that arrived before sensors could register them. AI tactical decisions that anticipated every countermeasure. Gravity weapons that bent space itself into death traps. Then it showed the void sector threat that humanity had warned about, now spreading faster, consuming systems weekly. That, Rivera continued, is what we came to warn you about. That is what we offered to fight alongside you against. But you chose betrayal instead. So now, you face it alone. His eyes hardened. This is humanity's final warning. You have 48 hours to vacate all systems within 50 light-years of Earth. Any Council, presence gone. If you comply, we'll discuss terms. If you don't double quotes. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The galaxy watched as humanity didn't just defend their world, they exploded outward with a fury that rewrote political maps overnight. Council supply lines vanished, cut by human strike forces that appeared from nowhere, struck with devastating precision, and disappeared before reinforcements arrived. Within a week, 3 species who'd voted for Earth's abandonment had their homeworld orbital platforms destroyed. Within 2 weeks, 17 smaller species, oppressed by Council dominance, had made contact with Earth, begging for alliance, for protection. Humanity accepted, and each alliance came with technology trades, resource sharing, intelligence that filled gaps in Earth's understanding of galactic politics. The Council found itself hemorrhaging members who saw which way power was shifting. A month after the betrayal, a lone human Marine corporal named David Reeves planted Earth's flag on the drifting wreckage of a Valkyrie dreadnought that had been part of the original assault fleet. The Hulk had been guided into orbit around the Council's central governance world, a constant reminder visible from the surface. The image went viral across every species' networks, and even Council propagandists couldn't suppress it. Ambassador Rivera addressed the galaxy again 6 weeks after the betrayal, but this time billions more were watching. He stood not in a bunker but on Earth's surface, the rebuilt United Nations building behind him, the sky clear and blue. "We sought peace," he said simply. "We came to you with evidence, with warnings, with offers of cooperation. You responded with betrayal, with mockery, with fleets sent to enforce our extinction." Behind him, images played, council delegates laughing, the vote tally glowing crimson. "You made us your enemy. You forced us to show the weapons we'd hoped to use alongside you, against the real threat. Now you face that threat weakened, divided, afraid." He paused. "Understand this. Humanity does not forget. We do not forgive easily, but we are not monsters. We are not conquerors. We wanted allies. You gave us war. We won." His expression softened fractionally. "The galaxy is changing. The Council's dominance is ending. New alliances are forming, built not on subjugation, but cooperation. Humanity will be part of that future. The question is, will you?" The transmission shifted to tactical displays, showing the void sector threat spreading, heading directly toward Council core worlds. "That is what we warned you about. That is what we offered to fight with you against. The offer is no longer on the table. You're on your own." He leaned forward. "But understand this, every species watching, every world wondering if they've backed the wrong side. Humanity remembers who helped us, and humanity remembers who betrayed us. Choose wisely, because the galaxy you knew is gone. We warned you to run. You should have listened." In the shattered remains of the council chamber, Ambassador Tavik, of the minor Zil species who'd been one of the 13 abstentions, sat alone, recording a personal log that would later become one of the most studied documents in galactic history. "I watched them arrive that day," he said quietly. "Young species, by galactic standards, barely children, desperate, honest. They showed us data, gave us warnings, offered their strength freely." His secondary eyes closed in what his species expressed as regret. "We thought ourselves masters of the galaxy. We thought humanity's warnings were ignorance. Their desperation was weakness." He pulled up footage of the 17-minute battle. "We were wrong. They weren't primitive. They were patient. They weren't desperate. They were preparing." The image shifted to the void sector threat spreading. "Now we face the danger they warned us about, and we face it divided, weakened, terrified. Not of the void, though that should terrify us. We fear humanity. We fear what we created when we betrayed them." His voice dropped. "They thought us gods. We thought them insects. But we forgot the oldest truth, that cornered animals fight hardest, that betrayed allies become the most dangerous enemies." He stood. "They gave us a warning. They told us to run. We laughed. We mocked. We sent fleets to enforce their extinction." He looked directly into the recording device. "Now they stand as the dominant power in this spiral arm, and we pray they're more merciful than we were. Because humanity warned us once, they won't warn us again." The final transmission came as a quiet message delivered simultaneously to every council world, every independent species, every listening post throughout the galaxy. No grand ceremony, no threatening displays, just a simple text message, in 300 languages. "This is Earth. This is humanity. We came to you seeking alliance. You chose betrayal. We warned you. You chose mockery. We defended ourselves. You chose panic. The galaxy has changed. The Council's age of dominance is over. New alliances are forming, built on mutual respect rather than imposed authority. Humanity will be part of that future, protecting our allies, defending our interests, and yes, remembering both friends and enemies." The message continued. "The threat we warned you about continues to spread. It will reach Council core worlds within 18 months. We have solutions, weapons, tactics, technology that might stop it. Whether we share those solutions depends entirely on how you choose to proceed." Then came the final paragraph. "Understand this, above all else. Humanity sought peace, but we are not pacifists. We offered cooperation, but we are not supplicants. We warned you to run, but we will not repeat the warning. Betray us again, threaten our allies, test our patience, and you will discover that the fleets you've seen, the weapons you've witnessed, the capabilities that terrified you, were us holding back. This is your final notice. This is your last chance. Choose wisely. Because next time, there won't be time to run." The message ended with coordinates of Earth, but of a neutral station where representatives could meet, where new alliances could be forged, where the galaxy could begin rebuilding. Some species accepted immediately. Others deliberated. A few refused and prepared for war. Those species learned, in the months that followed, exactly what humanity had meant by holding back. But most looked at the burning wreckage of the old order, at the spreading void sector threat, at humanity standing ready with both weapons and solutions, and made the only logical choice. They chose survival. They chose alliance. And deep in Earth's war rooms, as diplomatic channels flooded with requests for meetings, as former council speeches swore oaths of mutual defense, General Okonkwo allowed herself a small smile. "We warned them," she said quietly. Premier Chen nodded. They should have listened. Ambassador Rivera, preparing for the first formal session, had the last word. "They betrayed us once. We'll make sure they never forget it. And we'll make absolutely certain they never get the chance to do it again." Humanity had been given a simple choice: die quietly, or fight back. They'd chosen to fight. And in fighting, they'd rewritten the rules of galactic civilization. The Council had called them primitive, had mocked their warnings, had voted to let them face extinction alone. Now those same Council species looked to humanity for salvation. And humanity, scarred by betrayal but strengthened by survival, was willing to help. On humanity's terms. Because that's what happened when you betrayed a species clever enough to build an arsenal in secret, determined enough to turn certain death into absolute victory, and vindictive enough to ensure the galaxy never forgot. They'd warned the Council to run. The Council should have listened.